What's up, y'all? My name's Dumptruck. It's true. And I'm at the new to me facility at Kirk in Rush City, Minnesota. Oh, the name Dumptruck. That comes from whenever I served in the U.S. Navy aboard the USS Fitzgerald DDG-62 Arleigh Burke class destroyer. Easy for me to say super fast. We'd been at sea for a long time. We were the last all-male ship of the fleet. So when we hit the beach, there's two things I want to do. I want to sit down with a beer, and I want to look at people that I don't serve with. Mostly females. Just saying. So we go out there with some friends, 4th of July 2001, having a great time. Everyone gets good and loose. A few of the boys start wrestling around. I end up being covered in dude, the opposite of what I was trying to do. And they didn't even care, right? Everybody's just joking, having a good time. And I'm hot, right? I'm not actually mad, but I'm hot enough to go do something about it. And they don't notice. I stand up and I run about 20 feet, leaving my face in my chest, and I just go smash! And all of a sudden, 4 dudes hit the ground. And the girl goes, "Oh my God, looks like a dump truck just hit the beach." And so there they are. My love of motorcycles started when I was real young. I am old enough to remember when the internet began. And so that was a really exciting tool. And at the time, whenever I was a young kid, and found motorcycles, and then I found the Dyna Wide Glide. And I know that there are millions of people out there that understand the feeling that you got when you saw your first Dyna Wide Glide, because that is a beautiful motorcycle. And from that, I kind of started to learn some about the history of it, but at that point in my life, it was just like, ooh, motorcycles are cool. And I was in high school still, and you know, the years continued. My old man bought my mom a '89 Sportster and a 4-speed, woo-woo. And then she couldn't ride it. Like, it just wasn't her bag. You know, motorcycles are great, but they actually aren't for everyone. And it sat there, and I got real annoying real quick. I was a bouncer. I didn't make any money, so I couldn't buy the damn thing. But my dad wasn't a bouncer, so I bugged him enough, and he just literally told me to come to the house. And then we went straight to the DMV, and he signed over registration. I gave him $40 for a Sportster, and then shortly thereafter, I got a phone call from the motor company to do MC work for them at Daytona Bike Week, and that was 2009. And ever since then, nothing's been the same. My first voice work experience was pretty fresh out of the military. I went back to Memphis, Tennessee. That's where I graduated high school from, and ended up at WMFS 92.9, 93X, the new rock alternative, and I was a radio DJ. And didn't really understand what I had. The opportunity I was given was golden. I treated it like brass. But that was just the time of life I was living, my early 20s. I was setting my hair on fire and having a good time, not remembering the stories. Fast forward to when I just decided to change my scenery, moved to Denver, Colorado, and was given an opportunity after dating one of my still friends to be a women's roller derby announcer. And that was really, I got to MC some stuff in radio, like some local shows, and I actually got to MC for Tool one time, not a local show. But those like quick hits, but like as like an actual MC running an entire show as part of the production, women's roller derby, the WFTDA. Started with Denver Roller Dolls and the Rocky Mountain Roller Girls, and then that took me Australia, all over Canada, all over the United States. I was very blessed to work with some people like Val Capone out of Windy City Roller Girls in Chicago. She and I were the dynamic duo and kind of the voices of roller derby for a while. That community blessed me and continues to in a bunch of ways. That's where my mind started to expand socially, and that's also where I really started to refine this life of travel, like on the road, because there's always road time. You weren't getting paid. Go home, bounce, bartend, hit the road, go yell at people in a microphone about really awesome women making left-handed turns, knocking the snot out of each other. It was pretty rad. And then from that, there was a concert festival that was coming through Denver, where I was living still at the time. Part of the production crew was at one of the houses I worked at, and they lost their MC. We're like, hey, I know a guy in Denver that can get us through. And that turned into 3 years of concert festivals with Brown Foreman, which is like Southern Comfort, Jack Daniels and all that. And that same year, I ended up getting a phone call from a production company that was working for the motor company and asked if I had plans for Daytona and if I rode a Harley. I said, stop asking me stupid questions, where's my flight? Because I'm not ready to ride that Sportster from Colorado to Florida yet. And it's just that, I mean, Harley, working with Harley was very interesting. Working with anyone is very challenging. And it was also extremely satisfying and put me in a lot of really great rooms where I got to shake some really wonderful, talented, kind, and sometimes powerful hands. And And I've made more friends than enemies, so I still get to hang out in this room, and it's a blessing. What's it like being one of the known personalities in the Harley world? So, what a jerk, you gotta ask a real question. Getting to that point to where you're one of the people that you can expect to see at these events is an interesting path. A lot of people think it's because I worked for the motor company for so long. It was I worked with them, not for them, but it was 11 years I was emceeing for them at most everything they did. And that's not really how I got to become a part of the culture. It's how I was introduced to the culture. It was how I learned a lot of the history of the culture. But once I was really like in it, and I wasn't like working for people, and I'm one of the people who is emceeing something and not for the motor company, that was really when man, you're asking me real questions. that was really when I started to feel like I was part of something bigger than myself, other than a cog in the wheel. And the motor company is a really impactful and important wheel to a lot of us. But El Diablo run, 2013 with Biltwell. That was my first time where I felt like a part of a community. No one knew me because I didn't really have an opportunity to spend a lot of time in Southern California. I didn't know anything about the event until the night before at a roller derby event. And a local guy that rode told me about it. I was like, cool, I'll go tomorrow. I've got 2 weeks off. I can do something for myself on a motorcycle for once. And so I went down there, set my hair on fire, and made a name for myself, and how interesting I look in a tuxedo. And and that was my first real taste. And I wanted more, and I went right back on tour and checked back into Southern California, which eventually became like very much a home space for me when I got used to how to do road travel properly. And El Diablo Road, like right when I came back, there was another event in Southern California, Escape to Hazard County. And I'm like, these people may not remember me. I remember them. I'm gonna come bearing gifts with a big bag of salad and a whole bunch of bourbon. And let's see if I can go make some friends. And I did. And apparently people remembered me for all the reasons I wanted to be remembered for. And it really grew there. And even Biltwell started to hire me to MC some events for them, Kernville Campout and some other things of the like. But I mean, it really started to accept me as a person, and not just as someone who emceed and was filling a line item. The aftermarket world is really where your lifestyle is. Like the people that make those parts, those are the people that are really passionate. They're so passionate, they're innovating. They're innovating in a way that affects everyone's day to day, and there's a skew there somewhere in this building. And that is where the passion's at. You know, the motor companies and the other OEMs, there's obviously a lot of passion there, but you know, the workshops that look like this, the garage builds, the garage parts, you've got some very small operations doing some very great big things. That's the world you want to be in. So it's like being able to just go into like Sturgis this year. We're all going to be at Sturgis. We're going to be giving away an FXR that you've been following in the garage build program. We've got the custom show that's going to be happening with Dennis Kirk on Saturday the 6th. There's just all sorts of other things happening with Sturgis, and even if I wasn't hired to be on a microphone, I would be just as much as a part of the family as when I am, like actually facilitating and adding to the community in that way. And that's the best part. Like, Harley gave me a lot of opportunities, and I've been able to create family out of it. Well, now you know too much. So if you want to know more, you can go to my Instagram, which is Dumptruck_. Pretty much search Dumptruck as one word anywhere. You'll find something interesting that has to do with me. My website is ispeakgood.com. Got podcasts that's coming out, blog posts that are coming out, a lot of extra content that's not just a double tap worth. And if you need any parts for anything power sports, they've got over 180,000 SKUs here at DennisKirk.com, and they ship the same day. You won't be mad. Trust me. Look at this face. Work it out.